Hey you guys, I'm here today to do a video, and the theme of this video is going to be embracing your individuality. And this was actually an idea that a friend of mine gave to me for this video, and the more I thought about it, the more I thought that this was really a perfect theme, especially following up with my last two videos, which were a part one and a part two, and I really suggest that you guys go and check those out. But before I get started, I've got this little sage incense, and I'm gonna light it. And as I always mention, it's really important to cleanse your space before you do any type of spiritual work, teaching. If you're just talking, it's really important to cleanse your area. But when you're in nature, it's not necessary. So I do consider this to be a tool for cleansing, but I'm also going to take and place it down in the ground and leave it here as an offering, as a token of gratitude to the universe for just allowing us to be here today, to take in the surroundings, the energy of nature, just everything that we are blessed with that we sometimes take for granted. And I'm just going to take and place it down here in the dirt, and I'm going to leave it here. And now I'm just going to sit down here. I hope you guys can see me pretty good, but I tend to move around, so I'll probably pop back up in a few moments. But I've also got this spray, and this is some sage spray as well, and I'm just going to spray it around us, over my crown chakra, behind me, around me. And like I said, when you're working in nature, it's not necessary to cleanse, but I always feel better when I cleanse. So I brought a stone, which is my rose quartz wand, and I just thought rose quartz was appropriate to include, being that we're talking about embracing our own individuality. And for me, that also goes hand in hand with self-love. And I'm just going to hang on to it as I talk. And, like I've mentioned, you don't have to incorporate stones, herbs, anything. That's all you need to do any type of spell work, meditation, energy work, anything of that nature. All you need is yourself. You are the most powerful tool in your arsenal. But if you have access to crystals and stones and other ingredients, that always enhances any work that you may be doing. But like I said, it's not necessary, and I just can't get comfortable, so just bear with me. I'm sitting down here in the dirt, which I guess you could say is a form of grounding. And before I leave, I will probably end up pulling my shoes off and just further grounding. But I didn't prepare any notes. I didn't try to study up or anything. I'm just gonna speak from the heart. So if I tend to stumble over my words, or if I ramble a bit, or jump from here to there, just be understanding of me, which I can do that without even not preparing. Even when I'm prepared, I do that, is what I'm trying to say. But when I think about the importance of embracing yourself, to me, that is having freedom. Freedom of self-expression, freedom of freedom of your pure soul, freedom of your essence. And when I say that, I guess maybe I can tell you a little bit about my childhood to help you understand. Um, when I was a kid, I was what you would probably refer to as a weird kid. I had funny, you know, funny habits. I had, odd interests. I was a kid and I loved watching horror movies. I loved reading ghost stories. I was really, really, just intrigued with learning the craft. But, my grandmother, and I've shared this with you before, she, was a practicing Wiccan, and she was from the mountains, and a lot of times I would grow up and I would hear her or other family members referring to the craft as mountain magic. And, here in the South, a lot of people refer to it as root work and things like that. And, I'm not one of those people that are, I'm not offended by labels. I don't, make a big fuss about people calling my craft this or that, because I just feel like we all have our own way of expressing ourselves. And, a lot of people don't like to refer to it as witchcraft. They say that that's like an older term of referring to, being what we are is witches, and what we practice is witchcraft. But, in this day and time, things are referred to more properly, I guess you could say. And, I was just brought up in a time where things were just, it wasn't that you were being offensive. You were just speaking as you seen it. You were speaking as you were used to it being called. And, I consider that, being true to yourself, your individuality. And, I know as the world progresses and things change, the way we do things will change. And I understand that, we have to embrace progress in the world, and, nothing stays the same. I understand that completely. But I just wanted to touch on, just because everything around you is changing, and there's nothing wrong with, change. Change is a good thing. But I just, want to point out that as you're embracing change and you're learning and you're growing and you're evolving, and that is what we're supposed to do, not just as witches or pagans, but as people in general. We are supposed to evolve. That's the whole purpose of life, is to evolve. And, I just don't want people to forget their roots. I don't want people to forget who they are. As you're changing, embracing change, it's okay to allow yourself to change, as long as you're changing for the better. Not the better of the world, not the better of mankind, not the better of your family, your friends, the better of yourself. So just don't forget who you are. Just don't allow yourself to change. Don't just go with the motions. But as a kid, I was the weird kid, and for a long time I hated myself. I was not happy. I didn't want to be who I was. I wanted to be someone else. And that part of the way I felt, it was from a very early age, but it really intensified as I became a teenager. And I understand, that is part of the teenage years. We're unsure of who we are, and, we're growing, we're learning, hormones. I understand all of that. But I had so much going on in my personal life because of, abuse that was happening to me at home. And then at school, I wasn't like everyone else. So a lot of times I got bullied, I got made fun of. And in the beginning, I was really quiet. I would just bite my tongue and I would take it. I would take it. I would take it. And then as I got older, all those years of taking it, I got tired of taking it. So I started dealing with things in the wrong way. I started drinking and I started experimenting with drugs, and I started, having boyfriends and girlfriends, and I was doing things that was not age appropriate. I was trying to live too fast, and a lot of the things I was doing, they weren't things I really wanted to do. They weren't things that made me happy. They were things that I was doing to fit in because, of peer pressure. But, at the end of the day, we have our own mind, we have free will, and we don't do things just because other people are doing them. We don't do things just because, we want to fit in. That's not the way to do it. But, when you're that age, you're not thinking clearly because you're not an adult, for one, and you're still learning, you're still growing. And so I started doing things I had no business doing. And this one time, I decided to skip school. And I didn't want to skip school. I actually loved school. I enjoyed school. It was my sanctuary, for one, because of what was going on at home. But I really, and even today, I've always loved learning new things. I love reading, I love writing. Even like math was never my strong point. It was never what, grabbed my attention. But, I would still do it. And as I was learning, new problems and formulas and things like that, and I would get interested because I enjoyed learning. And, I always made really good grades. I was on the honor roll. And then when I hit those teenage years and I started trying to, run with everyone else and keep up with everyone else, I was so busy and consumed with keeping up with the other kids that I got lost along the way on my path. And my grandmother, she was really my rock, and she basically raised me and she taught me the craft. And she would always try to help me and reel me in when she seen me getting, too far off course. She would try to reel me in, but she was one of those parents that would try to give me freedom to an extent. She wouldn't let me do anything dangerous or inappropriate to her knowledge. Now, of course, what she didn't know, I was doing a lot of things I shouldn't have been doing, but I almost lost myself along the way. And when I say I almost lost myself, I almost lost my true self. I almost lost my life. And what I did was I skipped school one day. The first time I ever skipped school, and I didn't want to skip school. I actually missed going to school that day, but I was, trying to be like these other kids, and I skipped school and went to a graveyard and we hung out there. And that's something I always have done is, would visit cemeteries. Even as a young girl I would visit, and I just felt, connected and calm, and that's where I'm at today, right now. But I went with these kids, and they were just disrespecting the place, and they were just acting like asses, and it was making me mad, And I told them to stop. I'd tell them, "Come on, let's go over there," but I never spoke up like I should have spoke up. I never, you know, the people that were at rest and the spirits that were among, us in that place, I didn't do what I should have done as a pagan, as a witch, as who I was. I didn't take up for them. I didn't, put a stop to what was going on because of fear of not fitting in. And then we started drinking. And of course, I didn't even care to drink, but they were drinking, so I was going to drink. And to make a long story short, it began to rain. So we all piled in this car. There was like, let's see, there was 3 people in the front and three, four, five. There was 8 people in this little car. We had all been drinking. It was raining. We hopped in the car and we took off. And we realized it was almost time for school to get out, so we had to get our butts back. And we were speeding. It was raining. We were drinking. And there was a logging truck in front of us, like a flatbed 18-wheeler. And it was carrying underground pipes, big pipes about this big. And they were sticking out off the back of this trailer. We were behind it, and we were speeding. We were going to pass this truck, but all of a sudden this truck, turned on its blinker, and we were flying. We were right on its behind, and they turned on the blinker to turn, and the guy driving slams on brakes, and we just slid on that wet road that, had just got rained on. We slid into the back of this truck. Pipes went through the car, the windshield. I was in the back seat, sitting on my friend's lap. No seatbelt. No one had seatbelts on. And I was thrown. I was ejected from the car, went through the windshield. And it's a wonder those pipes didn't take my head off or something, but I went through the windshield, and my head was split open. My skull was exposed. My ear was almost cut completely off. I was bruised up, cut up. I had, fractures, and I was lucky to be alive. And that day, when I was laying in that hospital bed, and I was thinking about everything that I did do that day and I didn't do that day, and I realized not only had I almost lost my life, but I had almost lost myself. And when my friend brought this theme up to me the other day, I thought back on that day in the hospital. And that was the day, that was the turning point in my life that I decided I wasn't going to just follow in everyone's footsteps. I was going to follow in my footsteps. I was going to embrace my individuality. And no one has to like you. No one has to love you. As long as you like you, as long as you love you, that's all that matters. And if you ever lose yourself, if you give up your individuality to please others, to fit in, you will genuinely lose yourself. And once you do that, you'll never find happiness. You'll never be successful. You will never evolve. You will always be a carbon copy of someone else. And the goddess loves us so much that she created us. She gives us the knowledge. She gives us the strength. She gives us the power to be who we are. And if you are a true pagan, a true practicing witch, you know in your heart of hearts that the goddess, she is our mother. She is our mother goddess. And she created us out of love. She loves us. She wants us happy. So why would you take all of these gifts that you have been given, and why would you just want to be a carbon copy of someone else? Why? When you can be you, you can be who the goddess intended you to be. And, when you realize that, and when you accept that, your life will be so much happier. You will be so much happier. And happy people live longer. Happy people succeed. Happy people are happy. And happy people find love. They find love within themselves, and they find love of others. And if you are someone that's searching, or if you're someone that's trying to find your place in this world, you're never going to be able to do that until you embrace who you are. And like always, I know everyone may not understand the message I'm trying to put out there, but hopefully I said something that someone out there may resonate with. And if I did, please like and subscribe. And as always, if you believe, you will receive. Much love, you guys. Bye bye.